Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another news video of CS2 Esports. Before we get into the video, I just want to make sure everyone likes and subscribes. It's greatly appreciated. But today we're going to be talking about the major and what happened. So before we get into that, though, again, I always like to go through the transfers just because they're right here. Floppy on Complexity is going to be benched, and Jame from VP, who probably is their best player, and also their IGL, also benched on VP. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But we'll see who ends up picking up Jame. Hopefully someone that needs him. But we'll see. Anyways, let's get into the major. Now, if people do not already see, Spirit won, which no one thought would win. Just to go over the stats of the major real quick. Vitality had the best rating, but they didn't make it past quarters. They lost to G2. They lost to Faze in quarterfinals, excuse me. Donk had the highest rating by far. He actually set a new record he set a record for Major Ace. He did 2 against Faze in the grand finals, which we'll get into in a minute. He broke the record for youngest player to win a major, youngest player to be MVP, and he also broke Simple's rating record at the major. However, if we're talking about 2.1 as opposed to 2.0, I think Simple might have beat him, but that is not the numbers, so that doesn't matter. The rankings have not come out yet because the last time they were updated was December 9th, and I don't think the playoffs have started since then. I will probably see Spirit's probably going to jump on the number 1 spot, no question. I mean, they played phenomenal throughout the whole tournament. Everything else, honestly, except Navi will probably drop a little bit. Everything else is probably good as it is. Maybe phase up a little bit, maybe Liquid, but that's probably what it's going to be. Rankings-wise, and then we do have the HLTV awards, and then no really big events until January. So the players get a nice little break off, little Christmas, New Year's break. Then we'll get right back in the swing of things into January. Now, let's go over the results. Obviously, grand final was 2-1 Spirit Faze. Here is the bracket right here. This was an incredible game, which I'll get into. Now, I don't know if anyone remembers, but my pick'ems was Mongols going all the way and winning against G2. That did not happen, so rip my diamond coin, but a lot of people had G2 going all the way. I really don't think a lot of people had this, so if you have a diamond coin, congratulations. But yeah, this was a really, really tough major. I don't think a lot of people got it. However, they were, some of the a lot of incredible games. This series was very good, especially the nuke game. Same with this series, a great series. This opening round, except the Mouse Mongols was pretty good. Maybe a little asterisk on Liquid Spirit. Dust 2 was a lot closer than they think. It was 13-6, I think, if I remember correctly. And Liquid came back all the way and just lost at the final hurdle, which is exactly what FaZe did in the grand finals. G2 Heroic, this went to single overtime on the last map. Again, some great clutches by G2 to win that. Spirit, Mouse, it was honestly just blowout for each map, so it wasn't really that crazy, but both teams played incredibly well. FaZe G2, again, it's FaZe G2, classic matchup. FaZe Vitality as well. Again, it was kind of a blowing out on each 2 maps, or each 3 maps, so it wasn't as impressive, but the fact that FaZe won, that was a good map. And then this, again, these games were, they were pretty big blowouts, but they were pretty fun to watch. The Dust 2 game was very, very, this is probably the best map in the major by far. FaZe was down 13-5, I think. Came back all the way to 12-11. They were down 12-5, excuse me. And then they came back all the way to 12-11 and then lost on the final round. And there were some great clutches in between that 12-5 to 12-11 stint. So if you haven't watched the highlights, I suggest you go back and watch them. But really, what does that mean, and where does that put us kind of in the grand scheme of things? Well, here are the results, as I mentioned previously. The big story is G2. There has been a lot of rumors and probably confirmations. Nico's probably going to go to Falcons, so he will never, ever win a major in G2 as it stands right now. FaZe, again, this is their second major playoff final, and they lost on the 3rd map again in somewhat dominant fashion. It does show 13-11, but the game, honestly, the only reason it was that close is because FaZe kept pulling off these crazy clutches at the end. But that's just FaZe for you. But yeah, we don't have any more games till January, so there's not really a lot to report on this week. There has been more talks about, because as everyone knows, or not a lot of people know, Kenny S has actually moved to China, and there's been a lot of talks about him getting a very, very big big tournament every year in China, like Katowice. I think the same comparison was used. So we'll see how that does. TSM has also benched their Danish lineup, so we'll see how that goes. But I am excited for the HLTV Awards this week, or this month, coming up. There's going to be a lot of shuffles in this next month. If I'm honestly looking at these top 10 teams rankings-wise right here, this team is probably going to get shaken up. I have a prediction that also Wonderful might be replaced with Simple, and Wonderful also might then go to VP, but we'll see what ends up happening there. I don't know what's going to happen here, but Simple should be coming back soon. There's no news on it yet, but I wouldn't expect him to be gone. I'd expect him to be back in a good, solid team by the time of the next major, so we'll see what ends up happening there. Vitality's going to stick together. Spirit, obviously they just won the major, it's going to stick together. Mouse, Spirit, Faze, nothing's going to change there. Honestly, the top 2 teams in the world, as the last ranking stand, they're not anymore. Maybe, I think still G2 is probably the second best team in the world, but maybe third, but that's still a big difference. Not a lot of changes until we get down to complexity, which Floppy was just benched, so I don't know what they're going to do there. I mean, I don't think there's been any news on who they could pick up. Maybe they pick up someone from maybe. I don't really know. There hasn't been a lot of NA talent really ever recently, and they just pick people out of nowhere, so we'll see what ends up happening there. But yeah, as it stands, Major was great. There was very, very high viewership. I don't think it broke the record, but it was pretty close. Very, very good LAN environment. There were a few times where it was a bit questionable, where I think on Nuke, which was the first map of the grand final, I think Chopper was going for a defuse, Brokey was sitting hut, and the crowd started yelling right as, he was sticking it, and obviously that was kind of a cheat to kind of tell Brokey, oh, he's defusing, whatever. But other than that, it was a really, really good major. Again, not really much to report on other than the results. There hasn't been a lot of news, as this is the next day. I would make this a couple days later, but I'm going on vacation tomorrow, so we'll see what ends up happening. I will be back, hopefully soon. My Kick and my TikTok, I just made a new TikTok too. It's pretty much my YouTube shorts, but I would appreciate it if you go follow. I just put all those out on my channel. If you could go follow them, that'd be greatly appreciated. Hopefully I'll be doing some streams here on YouTube as well with Kick at the same time. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, evening, morning, wherever you're at. Thank you everyone for watching, and appreciate it. Sorry for the little bit of a shorter video today, but again, it's just really the major results. But yeah, I hope everyone has a great night. Peace out.